you were asked about the Uyghurs. I'm sure you've been asked many times, and you were contrasting human rights in the U.S. and China. You said, in the U.S., human rights are inalienable and absolute. Human rights in China are relativist to be weighed against other societal needs. For example, you mentioned the Uyghurs, including food and shelter. You said, as an example, on the treatment of the Uyghurs, China would point to dramatic improvements in the Uyghurs' quality of life, and that would include over the last 50 years in terms of literacy, prosperity, and longevity, as well as a sharp reduction in Islamic terrorist incidents to the benefit of all Chinese. That's what China got out of putting 1 million people in concentration camps. Do you think that was a fair trade-off? It sounds like you do.
No, actually I don't. I understand that from the government's point of view, clamping down on Islamic terrorism was a high priority. And one of the things when you spend a lot of time in China, as I have, is they are fanatics about stability. Do I agree that locking down 1 million people in a internment camp is a smart way to deal with Islamic terrorism? Absolutely not.
But I wonder though, well, good. But may I ask, why would you note that their literacy had increased? I guess the obvious question is, who cares about your literacy if you're in a concentration camp?
Yeah, but you know, that's a good point, Tucker. So one of the things in researching my book that just became very clear to me, because a lot of times I said to the Chinese people, I said, you got a lot of things going for, why are you doing things the way you do? And one of the things you discover about the Chinese society, it's a collectivist society. So very different from the individualistic society of the U.S. So in China, literally the way they would look at it is there are probably 80 million people in Xinjiang where the Uyghurs live. We locked up 1 million, and so 79 million people are materially better off in terms of the quality of life, standard of living, and everything else. And it was only about 1.5% that we locked up. That's how they think about it. Do I agree with that? No, I don't agree with it. But that difference between collectivism and common good is a huge disconnect with the U.S. because we regard it, always have been proud of, every human life is sacred, and therefore any injustice is something we ought to be railing against, and they're just not wired that way.